Have you ever heard of the phrase freedom in the time of crisis? Well, this topic is one of the ones that families do not have until it's a little too late. Hi, my name is Anna Smith, and I am the broker owner of Pluma Realty. And for this topic of conversation, I have invited an expert in this field, and she's going to talk to us about that. And that is Rochelle Green. Hi, Rochelle. How are you?
Hello, Anna. Good morning. How are you?
I am doing good. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and about your company.
Sure. Thank you for asking. After running medical and dental practices for over 20 years, I made the change over to a health agent.
Mm-hmm.
And in the past couple of years, I've had another transition into really from agent to advisor to advocate.
Okay.
To help my clients in a way that I wasn't able to help them as a medical representing medical practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that's really important to know about my business is it has everything to do now with my sister's legacy.
Okay. Yeah. You've told us the story. You've told us the story quite a few times, and that's why you wrote this wonderful book. By the way, she's an author too.
Featured author.
Yes.
I'm among others in this book. Some others. Thank you, though. That's very
So
kind.
if you haven't read this book, go ahead and get it because it is fantastic. Well, now our viewers by now might be thinking, why are you here? Why is health insurance have anything to do with real estate? But for that, let's just start from the beginning so we can understand the whole picture. So tell us, what is the ACA so expensive for the ones that do not receive subsidy? And tell us what a subsidy is and what ACA is.
Sure. Now, the ACA is going to be the Affordable Care Act that went in to effect back in 2014. That is where you can get health coverage on the marketplace.
Okay.
So the ACA stands for Affordable Care Act, and on the marketplace, those plans are income-based.
Okay.
So plans, the premium that families and individuals pay is based on their household income. So those folks that do qualify for what you mentioned, a subsidy, which is a financial assistance basically through that program, that's an amount each month, and it's on a sliding scale just depending whether an individual is around 12,000 annual income all the way up to around 58,000. They're going to receive some level of subsidy, and that's an amount that will be paid or assistance toward that monthly premium amount.
Okay.
But to answer your question, why is it so expensive? Because Affordable Care Act, some people do, kind of chuckle a little bit if they're not getting that subsidy. So about 1 in 3 people on the marketplace, millions and millions on that coverage, pay around $30 or less per month. So the folks so that's wonderful. So there's benefiting those folks in that income bracket. But if you are over that subsidy level, a lot of people are paying what's called inflated prices, what they're considering inflated. Now, recent change with the American Rescue Plan, with that $1.9 trillion plan that was just passed when Biden came in, he did set aside $34 billion, and this is good news to a lot of people, to increase those subsidies. So it used to be around 50,000 where they would get a subsidy. I mentioned up to 58, just speaking in terms of a single individual. And also they're putting into play that no American should have to pay more than 8.5% of their annual income on those marketplace plans.
Wow. Now, how do people know what is the best plan for them?
Yeah, there's there's an awful lot we consider, and that's really where the advocacy comes in for my clients, because it's not one size fits all. The marketplace is not the perfect place for everyone. I'm really grateful it's there for folks that have major pre-existing is one of those things we talk about and consider where they should be. Someone that is suffering from uncontrolled seizures, I'm not going to put them into a plan that doesn't have pre-existing coverage for a year.
Gotcha.
So it's really about serving, and it's not so much about sales, but making sure people's assets are protected. Brings us back to that freedom in the time of crisis.
And that was my next question. So what does that phrase really mean?
Yeah, to me, it really means that, God forbid, something happens, and I have to refer to my sister because when she was diagnosed with cancer, she had a lengthy battle with breast cancer. She suffered financially, she suffered emotionally, she suffered physically, and it was because she wasn't an insured, someone that was insured. So it's not just always about, will the doctors get paid, will the hospitals get paid, who's going to pay your bills if you're sick and you can't work. There's a big difference between, just not being able to work for a while and keeping your coverage and getting through that time. But if you can't pay the rent, if you can't pay your bills, you don't have any freedom in that time of crisis.
And that's where that right there is where the real estate and healthcare comes in.
Marla lost her home. She wasn't able to keep any assets or have any income, and
because she wasn't properly insured.
Yeah. So that's why we need to protect our real estate and our assets. And God forbid someone gets a devastating diagnosis. God forbid someone suffers a heart attack, stroke. It could mean the loss of their assets. So we want to it's not like the hospitals are necessarily going to go and take your house away right off the bat or something. But again, if you can't work and make those mortgage payments,
the hospital's not going to take it away, but the bank will.
Well, not immediately. They're not going to take it away. You may not lose your home within that year or something like that. Yeah. But it really can be devastating. My sister, unfortunately, had to live in a really scary, crime-infested motel for several weeks while she was very, very sick when she was waiting for housing assistance.
That's crazy. Now, how do you help families that cannot afford their employer group plan?
Yeah, employer group plans, I'll tell you, that is the best coverage you can get out there. I usually don't take people off of an employer group plan unless there are just extreme circumstances. But if someone loses their health coverage, it can be very expensive to pay that full premium. But for families, it's gotten expensive. Wow. The average price to cover a family on an employer group plan, this is just an average, is about $1,700 a month. So hopefully if you're employed, the employer's paying part of that. But these days, they typically only pay part of the employee's portion. So to bring on that spouse, those children, can be a financial hardship.
So private insurance is not one size fits all, right? So tell us, how can you build plans based on what the individual's needs are?
Yeah, so with private insurance, it is different from the ACA because the ACA is going to cover all the things that are mandated, things that are necessary to have coverage for substance abuse treatment, inpatient mental health. These are things that do make insurance more expensive. There are, mental health crises in this country, so there needs to be a place, including maternity. However, on the private market, I'm able to build plans to where my clients, if they don't want maternity coverage, I know, a gentleman that's, any gentleman, right, is not going to really care to pay for that coverage, right? Most gentlemen, right? Or, a woman that's beyond family planning ages. Why should we pay for that coverage, those steep prices? Some people don't see themselves at risk for substance abuse or inpatient mental health, and they don't want to pay those extra premiums.
That's crazy. Now, for self-employed or small business owners, how do you build those plans? What do you consider when building those plans for those people?
Yeah, that's also a unique situation, and I've got a lot of innovative strategies and resources that I'm able to provide my clients so that we can address those individually. Again, not one size fits all. However, people should know that if you are on an ACA plan, on the marketplace plan, and you are self-employed, not unlike yourself, out showing a house or something, have a trip and fall, end up in the emergency room with a broken leg, that's not going to be covered by your plan or your spouse's employer group plan. That is an on-the-job injury. But we are able to build in on and off-the-job coverage, 24/7 coverage with private plans. We're also able to build an income replacement. So somebody gets hurt or ill and is not able to work for a while, we build in lump sum, benefits so that they can keep the bills paid, keep the business running.
Okay. And now this is how we're going to wrap the one thing and the other, the healthcare and then the real estate. How do you build plans for individuals, whether it's an employee, an employer, a small business owner, or an individual? How do you build those plans so they can protect their assets, so they will not lose everything like what your sister happened?
So I never want to see that happen. And I'll give you an example of a client that we were able to be very proactive. She got into a good private plan. She owned a business, had a child away at college. And what we were able to do was build a plan that protected her because she did have a crisis. She was diagnosed with a real rare brain cancer. So just to answer that question kind of in reverse, she was able to receive a lump sum check that gave her the freedom to step away from her business and bring in a consultant to run the business. That lump sum check also covered her son's tuition in the University of Tennessee.
Okay.
There was no hardship there. The mortgage was still paid. In fact, her husband was able to take a leave of absence to be with her while she traveled across to another state, to Duke University, to see one of the best renowned specialists in the nation to help treat this very rare brain cancer. So while there's a lot of uncertainty, she had the freedom to take her health plan out of the state, which wouldn't be an option if she was on an ACA plan, go see the best specialist because she had a good deductible. She had a lump sum check that paid the bills for a long time, and she also had other means of income replacement that we had built in.
And that's something that you built, and you sat with her, and then you saw all the options and just put it all together.
Yeah,
so like making a cake.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like it's not like just running quotes. It's about really giving that full consultation. I call it a healthcare checkup, where we talk about all of your needs and those what ifs. And it's not always pleasant to talk about, God forbid, what happens if you were to be diagnosed with cancer, but let's plan for that freedom in the time of crisis.
So, well, folks, this is how you get prepared. This is how you plan for the future and for planning for that freedom in the time of crisis. So now that you have heard that phrase, it's going to stick in your brain, and you're going to be making sure that you are well prepared and well covered. Well, Richelle, thank you so much for being here with us, for giving us such a good information, such an important information that this is a conversation that families don't have.
That's what I love with working about you too, Anna, because you are looking out for your clients in big picture ways. And we have a responsibility to them to really have their back. And we have to bring in, experts. That's why I love working with you whenever I can bring you in to consult with clients on,
thank you.
It's not all about, sales. It's about service.
Yep. Well, there you have it, guys. Well, thank you very much for watching today. And stay tuned for the next video. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.